In a quiet suburban neighborhood where rules and regulations are enforced by a powerful HOA, one woman holds all the cards, and she's not afraid to play them. Meet Karen, the self-appointed queen of the Homeowners Association, obsessed with power and control. But when one resident tries to make a simple, life-improving change to their home, she sees red. That resident? A kind, soft-spoken man who recently had a life-altering accident, leaving him wheelchair-bound. With the support of his family, he installs a medically necessary wheelchair ramp at the front of his house, a ramp that's fully compliant, city-approved, and professionally built. But Karen doesn't care. To her, it's an eyesore, a blot on the pristine image of the neighborhood she rules like a tyrant. She starts sending violation notices, one after another, petty, cruel, and relentless. The ramp isn't blocking anyone, it's not breaking any laws. But that doesn't stop Karen. No, she doubles down. She calls emergency meetings, rallies board members, threatens legal action. And when that doesn't work, she tries to humiliate the family publicly. But here's the twist. What Karen doesn't realize is that this time she picked the wrong battle. The resident's family has had enough, and they're about to fight back, not just with facts and permits, but with something far more powerful, the truth. What follows is a shocking chain of events that exposes not only Karen's abuse of power, but something deeper, a dark secret within the HOA itself. Stay tuned to find out how this small ramp triggered a war that would shake the entire neighborhood and bring Karen's reign to an unexpected end. Just when it seemed like Karen's crusade against the wheelchair ramp had gone too far, the real bombshell drops. Because the disabled resident she's targeting, she's not just any neighbor, not just a grieving woman recovering from an accident, not just a quiet resident trying to live in peace. Her name is Sarah Mitchell, and she's the governor of the entire state. That's right. The most powerful woman in the state had been living quietly among them, keeping her identity private for safety and normalcy. No press, no fanfare, just a home where she could recover and spend time with her family. But Karen, drunk on HOA power and blind to reason, didn't care. She brushed off warnings from other board members, ignored pleas from neighbors to back off, and worst of all, she laughed off the federal ADA laws, claiming, "Those don't apply in my neighborhood." Let that sink in. An HOA president, trying to overrule federal disability law, and she picked a fight with the one person who could shut her down with a single phone call. But Sarah doesn't lash out. She watches, documents, waits, because she knows real power doesn't scream. It strikes when it matters most. And when it does, Karen's entire world comes crashing down. Want to see what happened next? How the HOA erupted, how the community responded, and how Karen's arrogance led to her ultimate downfall. You adjust when you think Karen couldn't possibly take things any further. She does the unthinkable. On a quiet weekday afternoon, while Governor Sarah Mitchell is away at work fulfilling her duties, Karen makes her move. She shows up with a clipboard, a smug expression, and something far more dangerous, a bulldozer. Claiming she has emergency HOA board approval, a vote she likely orchestrated in secret, she points to the wheelchair ramp like it's a criminal structure. "That eyesore," she says, "is coming down today." The workers hesitate, neighbors gather, phones start recording. Then someone asks the obvious, "Wait, is this even legal?" But Karen doesn't flinch. She waves her forged documents, barking orders like a dictator protecting her turf. "We have every right. The board has spoken. Move it." And just as the bulldozer blade drops, scraping against the concrete of a medically necessary, city-approved, ADA-protected ramp, that's when it happens. The narrator steps in, panicked but composed. They rush toward the scene. "Stop! This is illegal. This violates the Americans with Disabilities Act. You're destroying protected property." Karen sneers. "That's your opinion." But this isn't opinion, it's federal law. The narrator fumbles for their phone, desperately trying to reach Sarah, her legal team, anyone. Calls go out, voicemails, emails. Meanwhile, neighbors have gone live on social media. Videos are being uploaded. One neighbor is already tagging news stations. Karen still doesn't realize it, but she's seconds away from detonating her own career, reputation, and legal future. Watch closely. This is the moment Karen's entire world was about to implode. Because what's coming next? Headlines, legal action, and a governor with the full weight of the law behind her. Can't believe how this war ends. Just when the dust from the shattered ramp starts to settle, everything changes. A sudden rumble of engines cuts through the neighborhood silence. Black SUVs unmarked, tinted, rolling in fast. Behind them, state police cruisers, lights flashing, but no sirens. This isn't a warning. This is official business. Neighbors freeze. Cameras stay live. Karen steps back, clutching her clipboard, suddenly unsure. Then, the door of the lead SUV swings open, and out comes Sarah Mitchell, wearing her official state blazer, the seal of the governor gleaming under the sunlight. She's calm, composed, and yes, in her wheelchair. But now the entire neighborhood sees her not as a victim, but as the leader she truly is. The cameras zoom in, phones are raised higher. The world is watching. Sarah slowly rolls forward, flanked by state troopers, all business. She stops directly in front of Karen, who's now visibly shaking, realizing this isn't a neighborhood squabble anymore. This is a state matter. Sarah's voice, firm, resolute. You didn't just destroy a ramp. You destroyed state property. You violated federal disability laws. You ignored warnings. And you acted without legal authority. Karen tries to speak, a stuttered excuse, a protest, but the words won't come, because the truth has finally arrived in full uniform. And the look on Karen's face, a mix of shock, fear, and the slow, crushing realization that she didn't just pick the wrong fight, she picked a fight with the governor. The look on Karen's face when she realizes who she just bulldozed, absolutely priceless. The crowd is silent. Then, a single neighbor claps. Another follows. And in seconds, the street erupts into applause, not just for Sarah, but for justice finally catching up. Engagement prompt. What do you think Karen deserves for this? Arrest? Lawsuit? Lifetime HOA ban? Let us know in the comments. Because in this neighborhood, karma drives a bulldozer of its own. As Governor Sarah delivers her final words, the scene shifts from quiet shock to absolute eruption. The neighborhood that once cowered under Karen's rule, it comes alive. Neighbors flood into the street, not just to witness her downfall, but to finally speak out. For years, Karen ruled with fear, fines for front yard gardens, demands to remove accessibility lifts, shutting down children's sensory playgrounds because they were too loud. She punished people for being different, for being human. But now, her grip has shattered, and just when the crowd thinks it's over, Sarah speaks again. Sarah to the community. This wasn't just about a ramp. This was about abuse of power, discrimination, and corruption, which is why there's more. She holds up a file. Inside, documented proof of HOA misconduct, discriminatory enforcement of rules. The neighborhood erupts. Years of bullying, discrimination, and fear unleashed in a single afternoon. This is what happens when tyranny meets truth. Karen is gone. The HOA is under full investigation, and for the first time in years, the neighborhood feels free. Have you ever had a power-hungry HOA nightmare? Drop your story in the comments, because what started as a neighborhood dispute has now exploded onto the national stage. The security footage, the bulldozer hitting the ramp, the governor's reveal, Karen's face going pale, goes viral overnight. 20 million views in 48 hours. News vans swarm the cul-de-sac. Satellite dishes on lawns. Helicopters overhead. Every major outlet runs the headline: HOA President bulldozes disabled governor's ramp. Claims it was an eyesore. But it doesn't stop there, because with national attention comes serious digging. Investigative journalists and state auditors uncover a devastating pattern buried under years of cover-ups. Multiple past HOA lawsuits, all quietly settled. Residents who dared speak out, silenced with NDA payouts. Financial fraud. Karen was diverting HOA fines, tens of thousands of dollars, to fund her own home renovations. Fraudulent presidency. She rigged the last board election by disqualifying rival candidates for made-up rule violations. It's not just unethical, it's criminal. And the fallout? Her lawyer quits live on camera, refusing to defend clear-cut abuse of power and ADA violations. HOA board members resign en masse, claiming they were misled and manipulated. Karen's loyalists vanish, deleting posts, backing away, pretending they were never on her side. She's alone, cornered, and under investigation. Narrator's voice. One bulldozed ramp just blew the lid off years of corruption. And now, Karen's kingdom is burning, and no one's coming to save her. What was once a local power trip is now a national cautionary tale about unchecked authority, ableism, and abuse hidden behind community rules. His time, we're not staying silent. Weeks after the chaos, the bulldozers, and the headlines, something remarkable begins to grow in the ashes of Karen's downfall. Governor Sarah Mitchell steps up to the podium at a packed press conference. News cameras rolling, neighbors gathered, applause building. Sarah announces the Right to Home Happiness Act, a new piece of legislation aimed at protecting homeowners from HOA abuse, discrimination, and unchecked authority. No one, she says, should ever fear being fined or harassed in their own home, especially for being disabled, different, or simply being themselves. The bill gains immediate bipartisan support. It's a national movement now, sparked by one ramp and one woman's courage. Back in the neighborhood, change takes root. Karen is gone, moved away in shame, her name now a cautionary tale whispered in HOA meetings across the country. In her place, a brand new HOA board, elected by the people, diverse, inclusive, compassionate, with real transparency and community values at its core. And Sarah's ramp? Rebuilt stronger, wider, and better than before, not just as a structure, but as a symbol. Neighbors came together and transformed it into a community art project. Painted panels, handprints from local kids, uplifting messages from residents who once felt silenced. What was once seen as an eyesore is now a monument to resilience, justice, and community unity. Governor Sarah Mitchell steps up to the podium at a packed press conference. News cameras rolling, neighbors gathered, applause building. Sarah announces the Right to Home Happiness Act, a new piece of legislation aimed at protecting homeowners from HOA abuse, discrimination, and unchecked authority. No one, she says, should ever fear being fined or harassed in their own home, especially for being disabled, different, or simply being themselves. The bill gains immediate bipartisan support. It's a national movement now, sparked by one ramp and one woman's courage. Even the bulldozing company issues a heartfelt public apology. They didn't know the full story, and to make things right, they fund scholarships for disabled youth and pledge to build 10 free ramps in underserved neighborhoods. As the dust truly settles and peace returns to the neighborhood, one more chapter quietly unfolds. The narrator, once just a concerned neighbor with a camera and a conscience, is no longer just an observer. Thanks to their brave documentation, public advocacy, and unshakable voice in the storm, they have caught the attention of lawmakers, non-profits, and national housing rights groups. One day, an offer lands in their inbox. We're forming a task force to fight HOA abuse across the country. We need someone who's lived it and wasn't afraid to speak up. Are you in? They accept. Now, the narrator travels city to city, helping protect homeowners from unjust fines, discriminatory rules, and power-hungry board members. They educate communities, consult on new protections, and help others find their voice. And the story? It's not just viral anymore. It becomes a textbook case taught in law schools, ethics classes, and civic leadership workshops, a shining example of what happens when regular people stand up to injustice and win. Narrator's final words. I never thought I'd be the one to make a difference, but sometimes all it takes is one voice, one camera, one moment to spark a movement. Because justice isn't just a courtroom word, it starts right outside your front door. They accept.